Malik Neighbors, giant first-round pick. Everybody says he's like a generational talent. Has gotten into some real brawls, scraps. And we were talking with our pinhead suit, John Winthrop, and he's concerned about it. And you know what? I'm not at all. Doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't make him a bad guy. Makes him highly competitive.
I just need to know the context of these brawls. Is he highly competitive? Is he being a diva? Is he being a nozzle? Is he being a bad teammate? Because if you remember the Hard Knocks, one of the questions that these receivers all were asked when they came in and talked to Dable, like, how are you going to react when Jones doesn't get you the ball, if you're not going to be targeted? And because they wanted to know, are you going to be a team player? Are you going to be a guy that's going to go into the huddle and get upset that he's not getting the ball or that the pass wasn't accurate? So it was obviously important for the Giants for these guys to be team players. So I need the context of this fight. I'm with you, Michael. If it's just high-spirited competitiveness, and then that's an edge you're looking for. Remember, Rex Ryan used to love it when his teams would fight each other. It meant they were ready for the war, according to him. But if it's because he's being a nozzle and a bad teammate, then I would probably agree with the pinhead suit, John, that it is a problem. So I need to know the context in which this happened.
I think that's fair if he's starting it, but if he's just like getting caught up in the moment, I want a guy like that on my team. I don't want a dirty guy. I don't want a guy out of control. But, I mean, Daniel Jones was scrapping yesterday, too.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
Well, because, again, the context is important, Michael, because what if he got in somebody's face because that guy wasn't being competitive enough or wasn't where he was supposed to be? Maybe he's trying to become a leader. Again, I don't think it's – I didn't like it when Rex was almost staging these fights. It gets a little comical at times. But football is a highly competitive sport, especially this time of year. Guys are battling for jobs, battling for positions. We don't know what kind of team this is going to be. Everybody's on edge, and these things are going to happen. It's football, after all. Get over it. But I just need to know if he's being a nozzle or whether he's being a good teammate. And I guess we'll find out as time goes on whether this becomes an issue. But I kind of lean towards you. Give me somebody that's fired up, competitive, wants to win, came from a winning environment, coming to a place that's not a winning environment, that maybe needs more guys like that.
Now, I think there's going to be a seismic change, and you're going to laugh at me.
Okay.
I think Daniel Jones is going to have a better year. Now, obviously, he's going to have a better year because he was hurt last year, but one of the better years he's ever had. The beard makes him look tough.
You think one has something to do with the other?
Because when he's clean-shaven, he looks like, a dookie. Like he just doesn't look tough at all. And he got those wide eyes. He almost looks like a doe. But you put a beard on this guy, he has a little tougher look to him, and he's scrapping yesterday. I'm telling you, it's going to be a big difference, Don.
Well, you know what? This is going to go over everybody's head. But it's one of the reasons why I like the movie Nighthawks.
Okay.
It was Sylvester Stallone with the beard. It gave a guy with an edge an even bigger edge.
You like Stallone with the beard?
Yeah. It really, anybody that saw the movie, and it goes back to the early 80s, Rutger Hauer was in it. You never saw it? It's a good movie.
I don't remember seeing it, no.
Go check it out. You'll enjoy it. I don't think one has anything to do with the other. I do agree with you. I think Daniel Jones is going to have a good year. I don't know if it's because of the beard, but anything, Michael, because I know Eli had that kind of look on his face like of bewilderment.
Right.
But he was able to back it up with his play, and Daniel hasn't been able to do that yet. So anything that can kind of make it work. But I'm with you. He does look a little tougher.
Love it. Love everything about it. Couldn't be happier about it.
I'm happy with my beard. Does it make me look tougher?
Well, I don't even remember you. I mean, you lost that bet a long time ago. I think that beard is you. I think you'd look odd without it.
But at the same time, there's a difference between the goatee and the beard.
True, but I don't think tough. No, I don't look at you as tough. I look at you as crazy, but not tough.
I gave up on the goatee because, let's face it, unless you're working at a Blockbuster or a 1980s baseball player, what are you doing with a goatee?
A lot of people have goatees.
And I stand by what I said.
Interesting.
As somebody that had it, Michael, come on. The one thing you could say about me is that I never dressed or looked for the times.
No.
I was always lost.
No, you were always
You look
lost.
at old pictures of me, you'll never have any idea what era I was in based on what I was wearing or how my hair was. I was a complete mess. That mullet picture of me, that wasn't from the 80s. That was the early 90s. Again, I was always off. I was always off a decade.
You've always been a bit off. I've said that to people. They say, what do you think you're doing? I say, he's a little off.
You say it but you say it in a negative.
No, you're a little off. I mean, you're not dead center normal.
No.
You're a little off.
No, it's just a matter of whether you think that's
And there's different ways that it
endearing.
manifests itself. Some I can't even speak of, but,
right, but
I believe that you're a little off.
But is it endearing, I guess, is what
it works for me.
Okay, good.
Because coming from somebody who's also way off. I'm not normal.
No, you're not. You're off, too.
No, I'm way off. No, I need, like I've said this before, I don't just need help by one person. I need to go to Vienna. I need to be studied 24 hours a day.
No, there's got to be a team of people working on different areas of your brain.
Right. Fear of death. Here's 3 guys. All right. Fear of, sickness. Here's another 4 people. All right. Here's obsession with money. Let's work with 6 people with this. I mean, it goes on and on.
And the one thing they all have in common is they just still can't pinpoint the issue.
Right. What went wrong with this guy?
Yes. We can't figure it out.
Yeah. Why is
Bring
he so
another
messed
team
up?
in.
Eli Manning is eligible to be voted on for the Football Hall of Fame. Now, we had him in the booth on Sunday. He's a delightful guy. He really is. And I asked him about it. He said, I don't know. I'd love to go in, but if not, I had a career that I'm proud of. And he said, it's been a while since I played, and if they don't want me, I mean, it's not like I can throw any more touchdowns.
Right.
And I said this yesterday. I want to get your read on it. And again, it's weird because he did. If he didn't win the Super Bowls, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. But you can't take those Super Bowls away, and they are seminal Super Bowls. One of them beating what was considered the greatest team in NFL history.
Right.
In a staggering upset. He beat Tom Brady twice and never went to a Super Bowl. I don't think he's considered for a Hall of Fame.
But here's something else. Well, he's a compiler, which I can't argue. I mean, a lot of the stats that he has in the regular season are because he played forever.
And never missed the game.
Never missed a game, 210 consecutive games. But I'm sorry, Michael, compilers are allowed in the Hall of Fame.
Don Sutton's in the Hall of Fame.
It's a pejorative term in the sense of comparing him to other great players. Oh, well, he's just a compiler. But the last I checked, compilers do get into the Hall of Fame. So, yes, he was a compiler, but that shouldn't take away from the fact that he's a Hall of Famer. But what it does do, because he compiled a lot of numbers, because of how long he played, that's why he's 10th all-time in yardage. He's 10th all-time in completions. He's 10th all-time in touchdown passes. He's 9th all-time in attempts. So he's a top 10 quarterback theoretically in the regular season in his career, but I will concede that came from the fact that he played forever.
And a couple of people yesterday kept throwing up, I think he led the NFL in interceptions 4 times.
It was 3 times, and I'm sure Brett Favre probably did it 6 times.
Right.
All right, so, yeah, there are negatives to his game. He's probably Matt Ryan if he never wins.
Right, that's good.
I mean, if you take a look at the comparables, but Matt Ryan went to the 1 Super Bowl. It wasn't his fault. They blew the huge lead. But 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Everybody that's got multiple MVPs in the Super Bowl is in the Hall of Fame. He's got more, playoff wins than Steve Young, more road playoff wins than Joe Montana. Greeny was talking about this the other day. Now, a lot of that's circumstance because you can only win the road games that you're in, and Joe Montana wasn't in a lot of road games in the postseason in his career. So if you want to measure him up to the truly greatest of all time, he might come up a little short. But as far as Hall of Fame numbers are concerned, when you look at the 2 Super Bowl MVPs, you look at 210 consecutive games played, top 10 in a lot of major categories, I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame. Now, if you want to go debate first ballot, whatever, I think that's more of a baseball thing than a football thing because of the sheer number of people that they induct in 1 year. I think the minimum is 4. So you're not going to have things like you do in baseball where nobody gets inducted or one person gets inducted. I think the minimum is 4. So I think he still might find a way to get in on the first ballot just because of the timing of it. But he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, and deservedly so.
Yeah, and again, as you said, you can't take away those Super Bowls. That's part of the story. It's the story of his life. Is it a Hall of Fame career? And his career is accentuated and punctuated by 2 stunning Super Bowls. Now, you can say the David Tyree catch was lucky. The Manningham pass wasn't lucky. It might have been one of the greatest big passes of all time.
Yeah. And the Tyree catch might have been lucky, Michael, but what about him not being very athletic, being able to not get sacked, to be able to throw the football? So he was at least a part of that, if you want to call it a lucky play. At least he was a part of that. And then the whole drive itself. Hey, Michael, you can make the case, and you might lose the argument, of who would you want in a big spot, his brother or Eli? It was just the fact that he was able to do something that doesn't get done very much, needing a touchdown in a Super Bowl and getting it.
I'd want Peyton in the regular season, Eli in the big game.
And again, that's not taking anything away from Peyton, but there's certain things that the stats don't reflect.
And one of Peyton's 2 Super Bowls, he was a passenger. Right? With the Broncos, he was a passenger.
Absolutely. But listen, Peyton was a better quarterback. I mean, the numbers tell you that. But there's a little something in Eli. And also, it's not Eli's fault that he was on some really bad teams and a lot of dysfunction towards the end of his career. I think a lot of people, especially if you're a certain age, look at Eli towards the end of his career, and he wasn't very good, and the team wasn't very good, and they were trying to prop things up to try to get him another playoff appearance, get him another chance at a Super Bowl, which I think made him look bad at the end of the day. And then you look at the weapons. He had some nice weapons. I mean, Jeremy Shockey was a nice weapon, Plexico Burress, and Steve Smith, and they had some nice players. But I mean, again, it wasn't like he was playing with a ton of Hall of Fame players on the offensive side of the ball, or even any of the. How many of those players, Michael, from those 2 Super Bowls are Hall of Fame caliber? Obviously, Strahan from the first one because he's in the Hall of Fame. And listen, Justin Tuck had a terrific career. Osi Umenyiora, a lot of really good players. But I mean, how many of them were really absolute stud players?
And Tiki could be in the Hall of Fame, but he wasn't on those Super Bowl teams.
No, he wasn't on those Super Bowl teams. They're early in the career. So I'm not going to say that they were bereft of talent around him, but it wasn't like the Giants had an all-star cast. Thus, the reason why they had to take the path they took to win those 2 Super Bowls. So, 2 Super Bowls, Michael, in which they had to play 3 rounds before they got to the Super Bowl in each of them, only had 1 home game, the Falcon game. The first Super Bowl, all 3 games on the road in Tampa, Dallas, and Green Bay. And then the second one, they had the home game against Atlanta, which they theoretically shut them out because the 2 points were from a safety. And then having to go to Green Bay and San Francisco. And that San Francisco game, I don't know how much you remember of it, Michael.
He got destroyed.
That, to me, is the game that encapsulates everything about Eli Manning. Like his toughness, his ability, the way, and again, it even throws in the flukiness too. The 2 turnovers on special teams that got them the championship, won them the NFC championship game in overtime. But just how he was beaten pillar to post in that game, Michael. The pictures of just dirt and grass wedged in his face mask and his helmet, and found a way to win in Candlestick, an impossible place to go out there and win. You realize the Green Bay Packers have only lost 5 games in their history at Lambeau Field in the postseason, and Eli's won 2 of them against 2 future Hall of Famers in Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. So, yeah, some of the analytics or the math tell you that he's overrated or isn't a Hall of Famer, but watching every game of his career, he's a Hall of Famer.
How about these stats, right? You have to dig deeper into the numbers. He had 27 fourth-quarter comebacks, 37 game-winning drives in the regular season. He also had 4 fourth-quarter comebacks and 5 game-winning drives in the postseason. That's a Hall of Famer who does stuff like that.
And again, look at the teams. I also don't like the argument he beat Tom Brady or he beat Brett Favre. I get he beat the defenses of those teams, but still going head to head with another great quarterback that at least on paper was better than you. Think of the places to win in Green Bay, to win in Dallas, to win in San Francisco. To beat some of those amazing, that was a 1 seed in Dallas, Michael. That was a 13-3 football team in Dallas in 2007 with Tony Romo. See, Tony Romo to me is almost the exact opposite of Eli. Take a look at the stats. He was a better quarterback in the regular season than Eli, maybe even much better. But in the postseason, in big games, didn't have the moments that Eli had. And you can look at those 2 and say, well, it was only those 2. Lost to Philadelphia in 2008. He lost to Philadelphia in 2006. Got shut out by the Carolina in 2005. But that was a quarterback, Michael, that Rex Ryan was afraid was going to get killed in Baltimore in his rookie season in 2004 with a 0.0 quarterback rating.
Like Butarski.
And then the next year, the Giants go 11-5. So he went from trying to figure it out and being lost to getting the Giants in the playoffs for 3 consecutive seasons, and then the 3rd season, winning the Super Bowl, and then a 4th consecutive playoff in 2008. And I still think, Michael, there's a very good chance that if Plexico Burress doesn't, drop the gun in his in his sweatpants at the club, that maybe the Giants win back-to-back Super Bowls. Maybe.